So apparently that potential delay to Marathon looks like it's possibly coming a reality now, with PlayStation apparently pulling the marketing for the game.
Marathon delay likely as Sony cancels all paid market video. All right, this just dropped. Report Marathon delay likely as Sony cancels all paid marketing plans. So from Zahad here. Bungie's Marathon is likely to be delayed as a new report claims Sony has now canceled all paid marketing plans. Bungie's upcoming shooter Marathon just can't seem to catch a break. What started as a highly anticipated closed alpha test has hit roadblock after roadblock, leaving fans wondering if the game will actually see the light of day this year. Jeez.
There's a couple of things at play here. One, Bungie, who was purchased by Sony, their stocks vest, I believe, at the end of this year. So if for some reason things went absolutely terrible, they could just drop Bungie and just take the loss on the chin. Now, obviously, with Concord also failing, this would just be a horrible look for them. They buy Bungie, and then Bungie just falls on their face. But cost-wise, maybe they do just want to take it on the chin. I don't think that's what's happening here. And while September is their release date, the contract that they have with Bungie is that there's a hard release date that they need to have. I believe it's in the summer of next year. So this game has to come out before then, if they're going to meet their end of the deal, as far as Bungie's concerned.
You don't want to go to the next year. You got GTA around the corner. First, the studio was rocked by an art theft scandal when it was revealed that some of Marathon's promotional materials and in-game art were directly copied from an indie artist's work, Anti-Real. Bungie quickly apologized and promised to review all assets, but the damage was already done. Following the whole art theft controversy, several reports have now painted a pretty troubling picture of what's happening behind the scenes at Bungie. Multiple sources say morale among the developers is in free fall, with many team members feeling frustrated by the leadership decisions and the overall direction of the project. Some have even gone as far as calling Marathon's leadership toxic and humiliating to work with, saying that warnings about focusing only on PvP were brought up early on, but were completely ignored by higher-ups. On top of that, another report claimed that after the mixed reaction to the closed alpha, Bungie pushed back its marketing and pre-order plans that were supposed to go live in June, and the big open beta was replaced with public playtests.
Like, imagine you're working there, and because the original design team and overall team that started working on Marathon switched. It changed hands, and that's kind of where this happened. The person who stole this art is no longer within the company, allegedly. But imagine you're the new designers working there, and you've been working with these assets for years now, but the art you were given to work with was stolen, and you're getting the blame for it, because no one's going to go after the person who was originally with the Bungie team. It's Bungie's current team that is getting the flack for this, and it wasn't even their doing.
My understanding is correctly on this too. This was pushed back even before the art controversy, right? Gonna be late next year. Oh, dude, that's so fun. That's, you know what I mean? All right, Sony reportedly cancels all paid marketing for Marathon, delay incoming. Now, a new report claims that Sony has canceled all paid marketing plans for Marathon. This information comes from Colin Moriarty, who shared the news in the latest paywalled episode of the Sacred Symbols Plus podcast. This reportedly came from someone familiar with the marketing efforts in an overseas market, and it's considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile.
Yeah, this is interesting. So if Sony's canceling it now, it makes you wonder if not only is the game being delayed, or if the marketing plans they have now just need to be changed because the game fundamentally is going to be changed itself. Like, maybe they add prox chat, solo mode, campaign, just anything. Like, those are all selling points that you can market, like other games do, like Arc Raiders is. So that makes me wonder if they're going to change a lot of the fundamentals of the game.
So, quote, I was told by someone familiar with marketing plans in a key overseas market that there are now no plans to do paid marketing for Marathon at all, Moriarty said during the podcast. I don't know if those plans were affected by what has recently happened, or if that was always the plan or whatever, but it is considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile.
Or what if they just realize that their assets that they're using to market with all need to be reworked because it was stolen art? Like, because Bungie's official statement said that they're going to go back and review all of the assets they have. Imagine you're that person and you go back and start looking, and you're realizing these assets that you guys have been working with are just stolen. Not all of them, but like, what if they found, this is just me speculating, but imagine they found more assets that were stolen from the same artist or another artist.
So let's play devil's advocate. All right, so if you canceled marketing plans, one of two reasons. Either number one, well, really only one reason. You're not planning on shipping the game out anytime soon. I don't see it coming out in September and Sony does no marketing for it. Hell, they even did marketing for Concord. Stop the bleeding? No, dude, that's just, you're purposely killing the game then. Or you're sending it out to die. Sony cannot have back-to-back flops, guys. Even though, yes, it was Firewalk Studios.
I think they can. Just this generation of PS5, it isn't incredible to begin with the exclusives. I honestly think Sony can just eat this on the chin. I'm going to be honest. I think people are going to be blaming the downfall of Bungie more than the downfall of Sony. Because while Sony does need that multiplayer exclusive, they still have the single player exclusives. That Ghost of Yotai dropping at the end of this year is going to be great.
And Bungie, it would still be under Sony's umbrella, and it cannot have back-to-back flops. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I don't see Sony just letting it ship out and not do anything to try to push it. With everything,
Look, I don't think Sony is as tied to Bungie as you would think, even though they obviously own Bungie. I'm saying from the public opinion, since this would be Bungie's first game under Sony, I don't think people are tying them together. Like, if this fails, it's because of Sony. Or like, this is a failure for PlayStation. Because like, it would be a failure, but like, the overall average opinion, I don't think most people tie these two companies together. I think the large majority of the blame would go to Bungie. Because there's people that have been skeptical of them for a while. There was people that were skeptical of them when they stopped making Halos and transitioned into Destiny. And there was people that were skeptical of them with the way that Destiny 2 played out in some areas. So I think all of that blame would go onto them. And their last efforts would be a Destiny 3, I imagine, or a Destiny 1 remaster at the least for PC, and maybe a next-gen remaster.
Thing going on, the art plagiarism controversy, mixed and negative feedback from the closed alpha, and now no paid marketing plans from Sony. It's hard to not see a delay on the horizon. Pushing forward with the planned September 23 launch could honestly make things even worse for Bungie and Marathon. That said, none of this has been officially confirmed. These reports come from insider sources, and as always, it's smart to take these things with a grain of salt. So far, neither Bungie nor Sony has made any public statement about delaying Marathon or their plans for the game's release. What's your take on the situation? Should Bungie and Sony delay Marathon and try to turn things around? Was there still hope for a 2025 launch?
To be fair, we haven't heard much from them at all to begin with. Like, as far as addressing the concerns of fans with solo mode, a campaign, proximity chat, the hero aspect of the game, like, they haven't addressed those either. I don't think they are going to address most of this. They only addressed the art scandal because they absolutely had to with how viral it went.
Let us know what you think in the comments. Here's my issue. Every time Marathon has been delayed, it's been followed up with more layoffs. Here's what I don't want. I don't want the game to be delayed for another year, and it's pretty much the same thing. You know where I'm coming from? If we get into next year and the conversation is still, we don't think proxy chat is the way, and we didn't add solo queue. All right, you want to delay it? Then say the features that you're going to be adding and stand by it. Final bonus payments are summer 2026, and Marathon has to release or Bungie misses out. Could just be
also PvE. That's a huge thing that they're missing.
Compensation plan. I saw that thread that was being shared out, what, like a year ago? Essentially, over this time frame, if Bungie was to meet certain revenue targets, they would get certain payouts for executives in the C-suite. Kriller, does it pertain to this right here? I don't know where the podcast is. I don't even know. It doesn't even show like a timestamp for the podcast. Part of the deal was that Marathon would have to release in a good state by March 2026 to trigger the final staff retention and bonus payments due summer 2026. That's a deadline that Bungie agreed to. Okay. I'm just really concerned that it's going to be followed up with, you guess it, more layoffs. If we see Marathon get pushed back, and not that it doesn't need to be delayed.
There will be layoffs from this no matter how this pans out. I just think that's the reality of where this game's currently at. The playtesters of Extractions didn't like it. It's definitely not catching on to the regular FPS players either. I don't think the Bungie Destiny fans are also into the whole hero aspect of the game for an extraction shooter. And it doesn't have that hardcore milsim look at all. It's the polar opposite, so they're missing out on that community. There's a lot that this game is missing. So the fact that it's missing a campaign, PvE, prox chat, so the fact that it's missing all these features and the game just hasn't been perceived well. Not many people are looking forward to this. Bungie took a risk here, and I just don't think it's paying off. I don't see a world where this game blows all expectations out of the park. And when games don't do that, there's layoffs. That's just the unfortunate reality.
Look, it clearly needs some work. It needs to cook. Concern is that it's not going to cook in the right ways from now until, March or whenever. That's my concerns. We'll see what plays out. I will say, with all the issues with the the artwork and not knowing what is or isn't plagiarized, it could be a major problem, dude. Because that's just one artist that's come forward. What if the second map or the third map, or not, I guess in this case, the third or fourth maps, what if those maps contain more plagiarized art?
Yeah.
Here, that shit's got to be right before it ever hits us, before it ever hits the public, and before we ever see a beta again.
You know, there's been plenty of games that have rebounded, but we'll see. What do you guys think?